Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be looking at chapter 37 of Peopleware. It's the first chapter and the final part of Peopleware, section 6, which is called It's Supposed to Be Fun to Work Here. The intro for this section reminds us that work is actually not supposed to be fun. If it's fun, you should do it in moderation and not be paid for it. Why would you be paid to do something you enjoy? That doesn't even make sense. And if you're a manager, the sentiment continues with the idea that if people are having fun, they're probably messing around and not giving their best and most efficient output. But part 6 is about the opposite sentiment, as the name implies, that work should be fun. This brings us to chapter 37, which is called Chaos and Order. Chaos is everywhere, entropy is the law, and humans have put it to themselves for whatever reason to make it right again, to create order, to create something new and better and more valuable than whatever existed in the dark days of disarray. Creation is a satisfying thing to do, and perhaps that's what draws us to it. The authors note something interesting, which is that the amount of chaos in the world is ever declining. That's a particular phenomenon in technological fields, as increasingly specialized tools are created that are easier and easier to implement in a business context. Chaos is on the out, at least in the tech sector, because humans are killing it at ever-increasing speeds. With that, though, goes some of the fun associated with bringing order from chaos. And so a thoughtful manager who is aware of this might choose to reintroduce small amounts of disorder to keep her people on their toes. We'll look at a few of the ways here. Each way has its own section, but I'll give you the list so you know where we're headed. Pilot projects, war games, brainstorming, provocative training experiences, and finally, training, tips, conferences, celebrations, and retreats. So first up is pilot projects. These are where you give people an open-ended concept to try and let them go for it. The concept might catch on and you'll have improved your operation in some way, or it might not, and at the very least you'll have driven some employee engagement. Then you can certainly assess the value of that given the particularities of your circumstances at the time. The second is war games. The authors essentially introduce the concept of hackathons, but call it war games, perhaps paying homage to the first edition of the book, which came out during the Cold War. They lay out the concept thus. They should start by picking a finite problem whose solution would be valuable to the company, and then arrange for a weekend get-together where all the food and drinks are paid for, and where teams compete to solve it. Try to make everyone a winner in some way, and be generous with the pizza. It is suggested to tell everyone you're doing it on the weekend, so the participants can have the office to themselves, and not because you're trying to take away their weekends. Personally, I wouldn't believe this rationale, but perhaps I'm cynical, and I'd probably still show up, to be honest. Celebrate everyone's accomplishments and implement the winning strategy or strategies so that people will see that their work really did mean something for the company. People love hackathons. Since participation is voluntary, you'll be eliminating people who would resent you for making them work on the weekend. And, worst case scenario, the losing teams will have gotten to hang out in a low-pressure environment. People love showing their human side, getting tired together, shedding a lot of the professional persona they feel a need to wear Monday through Friday, and so on. Hackathons should be expensive since the real motivator of the event is community building rather than strictly problem solving. And last but not least, make sure that whatever challenge you set out for the teams to solve is something that's actually finite enough in scale and scope that it can be dispatched in the allotted time. A less time and resource-intensive method for introducing chaos into a group is with a brainstorming session. This is about getting a few people together and asking open-ended questions and seeing what comes out. It is meant to be largely unstructured, and it's important to not critique what people say, as even dumb ideas can lead to smart ones, or even simply be thought-provoking. Finally, taking trips together is an expensive but surefire way to introduce some kind of creative chaos into a team. Things like going away for a conference or a corporate retreat are all great options. People love to get out of the office and do non-work things together. The authors cite companies like Outward Bound that specialize in creating unique experiences for corporate clients. These are context and mindset altering because you see your coworkers in a whole new light. Personally, I had a lot of fun at a roller skating company event. One of my coworkers remarked that she didn't expect I would be that good at skating. But here I was, working with my feet, when she had only seen me working with my hands all the time we had been together. Things like this cost money, but what you lose on the balance sheet you gain in relationships and goodwill. It's a worthwhile investment, and if you can't afford thousands of dollars per person, there are other ways you can swing it. Maybe come up with an idea during a brainstorming session. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it thought-provoking, and I'll see you all in the next one.